Thank you and welcome to Latino Vegano. This is episode 13. And for today, I has a special guest. It's Melissa, Miss Red Vegan. That's the name she goes on Instagram. If you don't know Melissa, Melissa's an amazing influencer. She's been vegan for a while now, and she really is passionate about promoting social justice and to promote also equality. And she have a YouTube channel and she have an Instagram where she also talks a lot about this topic. She's a world travel. She's been to several countries and islands in the Caribbean, and we talked a little bit of her story, her transition into veganism. So I'm not gonna prolong this intro. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give a like to this video. And with no further ado, I leave you guys with Melissa, Miss Red Vegan.
latinoyvegano.com.
So how you holding up with all these quarantine?
Not great. Yeah, I went from not spending like any day at home ever to spending every day at home.
I know.
Hopefully it'll, I don't know, end soon.
Right? Is that are you being able to be more creative with your social media these days now?
Yeah, absolutely. Spend more time on Instagram and different hobbies. So
Yeah. So for those that don't know you very well or don't know you, how can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
hi, I'm Miss Red Vegan. My real name's Melissa. I've been vegan for almost 10 years. I am turning 40 in August. I work at an art museum as the customer service manager, and I love it. Hopefully it'll open back up again soon and I can get back to work because I miss it so much. I live in Massachusetts currently, but I'm going to be moving to North Carolina in September.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm single, recently divorced, and I live with my dog Frankie.
Oh, okay.
That's the quick rundown.
There you go. That's awesome. So what breed is Frankie?
He's a big mutt. He looks like an overgrown border collie.
Yeah. Oh. Is it a very active dog or is just pretty quiet?
No, he's pretty lazy, luckily.
Pretty lazy? Oh, okay.
I'm very lucky, yeah.
So what are some of your passions? I know people that follow you, you have a lot of talents. Yoga, you're doing to fitness, you have your social media. So tell us a little bit about how's that happen.
Oh, I have so many passions and interests. One of my biggest ones right now is stand-up comedy. So that's another reason I can't wait for things to open back up, is because I want to get back up on stage. Up in front of people with a microphone is my happy place, I guess, whether it's stand-up comedy or acting or singing or I just have so many interests.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know you were in stand-up comedy. That's awesome. Yeah. Did you took a course, a class, or how does it happen? Just natural came to you?
I did take an improv class, which probably helped, but mostly it just started from me loving to watch it and go to shows. My whole life, I've watched all the stand-up specials, and when I travel to a new city, I always check out their comedy club. And so I started attending the amateur open mic nights here in a nearby city, Worcester, Massachusetts. Actually has a pretty big comedy scene.
Okay.
Normally, when things are open, you could go see stand-up comedy any night of the week here.
Okay.
And so I started going to the open mic nights, and then I eventually just got up and started doing it myself.
Oh, wow. You know, one of my favorite spots here in Houston, and I highly recommend it whenever you're in town, there's they call it sports improv. And it's basically, I think you're familiar with that concept because it's a franchise actually. So basically what they do is that they have two teams and they go head to head, but it's all improv, right? And so they take, it's very interactive. You familiar with that concept? Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Oh man, so this is all great because I mean, since it's improv, everything's come from the feedback comes from the public, right? So from the audience, so those are the ones that provide them with all different type of topics that they wanted to talk about. So yeah, I mean, they have some presets, like a set of things that they're going to be talking about. But for the majority of the what's going on stage is improv, and so they have a referee and they pelanize, and so it's kind of like a sport combined with improv. So it's an awesome show, and you laugh your butt off when you go watch that. So yeah, I've been
I
so
would
many times.
love to try that
Yeah,
someday. That would be
absolutely.
my next thing on my list to try.
Yeah, yeah. So in your 10 years of being vegan, how's that happen? How did that transition happen? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I started, it was actually a coworker lent me the book Skinny Bitch. Um,
Okay.
which actually, looking back, I don't love all of the things in that book.
Right.
It's not great. It's a lot of diet culture, a lot of um, I I don't support all the ideas in that book, but it
Right.
did open my eyes to factory farming,
Okay.
which led me to explore more, including watching documentaries, reading blogs,
Yeah.
and just kind of fell down this rabbit hole of information,
Hmm.
learned how I started, I guess, I would probably say for health reasons, just hoping to live healthier. But over time, it definitely became about the animals. And now I would say 100%, I'm vegan for the animals.
Oh wow, that's great. I didn't know that part about it. And it's a very common between the majority of the vegans that we all started at some point either by watching something or somebody give us some kind of feedback. And my personal experience was kind of very similar, although I didn't read the Skinny Bitch book. But I had a friend, or I have a friend actually, that he introduced me to veganism, but from the health standpoint. And he was like, "Yeah, you need." Actually, he gave me a book. The book is called The Muculus Diet. So he gave me that book.
Mhm.
I read the book, but I didn't understand anything about it because it was so heavily focused on the medical terms. And I'm 23 years old. Tell me about who's thinking about diet at that age, right? So fast forward, I'm still being curious about it because I was like, well, if my friend is doing this for some reason, and I highly respect this gentleman, there must be a reason why. So that's what my curiosity sparked, and I started researching more about it. And what actually converted me into veganism, which is probably familiar with a lot of folks, is a PETA video when I saw the slaughteries and all
Mm.
that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, well, I found my reason. I found my why I want to be vegan now. So now it's to figure out how to do this because it's just so really new. And then we're talking about pre-internet times, so it was a little bit of a challenge back then. But stuck to it. And here I am, 18 years now into it, and
Wow.
yeah, you can't ask for a better lifestyle change. I always tell that the animals change me, not I change them, right? 'Cause, no, actually they save me. Yeah, that's usually what I do. I know you talk a little bit about a lot about empowerment. What is it so important for you to cherish the empowerment, not only between women but also in general?
Yeah, there's a lot of injustice in our world.
Yeah,
Those of us who are vegan recognize the
right,
injustice against animals,
right,
but there's so many other areas that we need to improve our society.
yeah,
And so it's very important to be an intersectional vegan, which just basically means that you care about other injustices as well. So feminism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, et cetera, et cetera. And I I just feel strongly that I want to be the best person I can be and
right,
help others to learn about these issues, and to, I mean, it's hard to say you can't, because our society is the way it is and we're built on these foundations,
yeah,
all the way back to the beginning of this country.
right,
It's impossible to not participate somewhat, and not to, gets privilege from whatever your privileges are.
Right.
But it's important to learn so that you can recognize and work hard to do the best that you can, and to note your privilege and use it to empower people who are not in situations and have as much privilege.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a very key part of our conversation, because I feel like this is one of the reasons why I decided to open this type of platform, because not only I see a gap or on a demography or a niche or whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, we're trying to spread a message worldwide, right? And then those messages has to be given in different forms. So whatever is that form that you get the message, has to be transmitted to you. So I want to be able to include people with different mindset, with different approaches, with different activisms, with different ways of sending the message. So whoever is listening to it or viewing this can get that message, right? So if a lot of the times people they rely heavily on having a figure to follow, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So who I'm following now. So if you use that power that was given to you, right, to do good, then hopefully that triggers down to the rest of the folks there, on the lines, kind of like a domino effect. So we want to use that power to help others. So I want to use whatever power I have to help others in some way or another, to create awareness, to help others, either not necessarily monetarily, but also just spreading the knowledge, because I think a lot of people, what is missing is knowledge. So that's, if you have to give probably one thing that help us to bridge that gap, what do you think it will be?
Oh, I I don't know. So for me personally,
Yeah.
I learn about people, different cultures, different experiences
Mm-hmm.
through books.
Mm.
I've always been a big reader. I know not everyone learns that way. And so you'd have to find, I guess, whatever your best way is to learn. But I always encourage people to just read and to pick authors and stories that are vastly different from your own. I feel like when you read, you put yourself in the author's life. You put yourself in their head, in their shoes, and it's the best way to learn about experiences that you haven't had, and to just understand things
Mm-hmm.
that maybe you couldn't otherwise or would never get the chance to otherwise. So I would recommend for everybody to pick a book that is written by someone who has a different life stories, different. If you're a man, you should pick a book written by a woman on her story, and learn about how misogyny affects women's lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a white person, pick up a book from a person of color, and learn about their experiences and their life. Same, if you're a straight person, if if you're able-bodied, or if you're, whatever privileges you have, explore the stories of people who don't have those same privileges. There's no better way to open your mind and become a better, more understanding person.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I totally agree with that. And also, just to piggyback on your idea, one thing that helps me in any aspect of life is mentorship. So if I need help with a specific topic, and this can apply to anything in life, it could be veganism, it could be real estate, it could be your personal life, whatever you're struggling. Even when you go to school, when you're failing or you're not doing well, what do they give you a tutor, or they give you somebody to help you out, right? So why we don't apply that in life? If you feel that you have a weakness in some aspect of your life, then find someone that has success to equivalent to what you consider success, and just talk to them, just get some knowledge from them. And I remember when I started, um, even though I had a friend, like I mentioned before, that it was a person that was providing me some information about the lifestyle, vegan lifestyle. I did my research on mine. I started reading books. I started going on the internet, and at the same time, I utilized his persona as a mentor to myself. So I feel like also people, they want to just keep the information for themselves and they want to open up to others because they're scared. This is a scarcity. What do you think about that?
That's a great recommendation. I love that idea. I'm always open, to new vegans. If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me. I answer all my DMs, believe it or not. And
That would be a
so
lot.
definitely, I love that idea of mentoring. And it's also actually, encouraging too, because I forget that personally, that I should also look for mentors for things that I'm, a new person too. Like maybe I should find a mentor for my comedy. Um,
You're right. Yeah,
so that's
that's a good.
great advice.
Yeah, that's a
Something
good
that I don't
idea.
think about.
Yeah, well, just the perfect example is I know that you're into fitness also, and you have a coach, right?
Yes. Yes,
You have a
I'm
coach.
so thankful for her. She's the tiniest little, I call her tiny little devil woman, but she's actually a very kind, sweet young lady. She just, makes me do things that I don't necessarily want to do all the time.
Yeah, that's her job. Yeah,
Yeah.
I train with Matt, and he's local, and he's the same way too. And he's younger than me, right? So he always like,
Yeah.
you gotta listen to me. We have this debate, and I don't go against the grain. I follow instructions. I'm pretty good at that. However, sometimes I'm not the type of person that needs to be motivated. I'm self-motivated, but I know a lot of other folks needs to be motivated. What
Oh,
I
yeah.
sometimes need is guidance. Like, okay, so I'm doing the right thing, so I'm not. Basically, that's what I need. So that's one thing. Um, I know that you mentioned that you have learned a lot. And what are some of the things that you have learned in some of your recent travels? Because I know you have been quite a few places. So tell
Oh,
us a little bit of your travel. And
yes.
I'm sure you're missing going out, hopping on a plane right now and going somewhere.
I'm missing it so badly. And
Yeah.
I'm praying that things are better by August for my birthday, because I
Okay.
have a trip planned to Ibiza
Oh,
that will
wow.
be very sad if it doesn't work out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've traveled to a number of places.
Yeah.
I still have a lot left on the list. What first comes to mind when I think about my travels, and I don't know if it's because of being vegan or not,
Yeah.
but I think of the food everywhere,
Mm,
and just learning about the different types of food, I think
yeah.
teaches you so much about different cultures, different geography, locations,
Yeah.
different everything.
Right.
And just having that thought in my head just made me really, really hungry. uh, I think about the delicious things that I've eaten all over the world.
Yeah.
Uh, and I would recommend to anyone who does travel, don't be the person who goes to the, the fast food restaurants, that goes to the, uh, Cheesecake Factory when you're in a different country or whatever the equivalent is. Don't go to the chain restaurants. Go and try the actual food. And being vegan is not an excuse not to. Now, I have been to places that are very difficult to eat vegan.
Okay.
Like I'm thinking of the Azores,
Okay.
part of Portugal. Like
Yeah.
that was very difficult.
Okay.
But it can be done, and you can still try local flavors while sticking to your vegan diet. It's just
Right.
it can take a lot of effort, but it's very worth it.
Yeah. So, Melissa, so in those places that you've been, like you mentioned, was difficult. You mostly, I guess, stick to like fruits and veggie, right? It wasn't like you were able to find restaurants, right? I want to make sure,
Yeah,
right? It's
and
not like you not didn't eat anything, right?
right. I do recommend if you have put Google Translate on your phone.
Yeah.
That can be very helpful, because some people, there are vegans all throughout the world, and sometimes you can make new friends, meet new people, and they know the ins and outs, the secrets.
Right.
So Google Translate is a big help. Also, the app Happy Cow
Yes.
for travelers is
Yes.
invaluable. There's
Yes.
also, and I forget the website that does this, but a quick Google check will tell you there's these cards you can print out, and they have
Yeah.
like every different language that quickly like explain veganism in different languages that you can show, like
Really?
a waiter or whatever, or you know, a chef in a different country, and so
Right.
that they can understand it fully and help lead you to what you can eat.
I didn't know that.
Those are a few of my tips that I recommend.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's a good one if you're just like really nervous. Like, and we also have to, like, you know, sometimes mistakes happen. I've accidentally eaten non-vegan things a dozen times, you know, through the years. And you know, what can you do? I you know, but if you really, if you have one, if you print up those cards, that can help you have less of those accidents.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good tip. I didn't even know that. I can only imagine, like, because I don't know Chinese, for example, or Japanese, right? And I can print one of those stuff and I can just show it, hey, this is exactly what I want. And they'll be like, okay, sir, ni hao,
Yes,
whatever that is.
Japan is another very tough place to be vegan. Lots of tofu.
Right.
Well, to be fair, I only went to Okinawa, which is very heavy on fish in the diet. So maybe it's different in other parts. But it's really hard to order tofu without getting fish flakes on it.
Really? I had no idea. Can you really imagine?
Be aware of that.
Oh, wow. So have you been to any Latin American countries? Since a lot of my audience is from Latin America, we kind of curious to know. Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, I haven't made it to Central or South America yet.
Okay.
It's high up on my list.
Yes.
But I've been to a number of places in the Caribbean, and I've been to Mexico a number of times. Mexico and Jamaica are two of my favorite places to visit because of the climate, the food, the people. So I often visit those places, but I've also been to the Dominican. I've been to Turks and Caicos. I've been to St. Kitts and Nevis. And I plan on visiting as many islands as I possibly can. My dream would be to actually live in the Caribbean someday.
Nice.
It's my favorite place in the world. I think so. At the risk of sounding completely crazy,
no.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a mermaid. And I discovered my love for the ocean when I first visited the Caribbean, and it's been a love story in my life ever since then.
Yeah, you haven't been to the Caribbean, the water, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been to a few islands.
Yeah, growing up where I've been here in New England, the beaches are not the same.
No.
And I used to hate the beach. I would get sunburned. The water was cold and cloudy, and the sand was rough. And then I went to the Caribbean and learned that it's soft and white, and the oceans are clear, and the fish are beautiful and
I know,
warm.
Yeah, we had to take you to Panama. You gotta definitely visit. Yeah. That's where I'm from, and whenever you heading that way, let me know, and I have all the contacts. I can tell you all. I can tell you the vegan. You're not gonna struggle, because I'll tell you the vegan restaurants, the places to visit, where to stay, where not to. I can tell you everything. I can lay it out for you, and you just check.
Okay. As soon as they open everything back up,
you put it in your list. So the one of the advantages, I just I'm a little biased, but I'll tell you real quickly. So one of the things is that you have the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. You can actually hit both oceans in less than an hour. You know, so that's extremely amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
that makes sense, but I never thought about it that way. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it'll take you less than an hour. 1 hour probably for go from one end to another end. So you can definitely visit both oceans.
That's
That's
so
one about
funny.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, where else
Hey,
can you do that?
exactly. What else you can do that? The other cool thing is you don't have to exchange money. You can just use the US dollar, so you don't have to worry about the exchange. It's just 1-to-1 same thing, so you don't have to worry. I won't say 80% of the population. No, maybe like 70% of the population speak English. So that might not be the greatest English, but they speak English, so you can work your way around it. Weather is similar to the Caribbean. It rains a lot too, especially in the rainy season, which is it's every single year. But that's nothing different to what you're seeing. Now, the Pacific Ocean water doesn't look anything like the Caribbean water. I have to be straight up honest with you on that. It does not look. Now, if you go to the Pacific Ocean, and the further you go out from the city of Panama, and just the waters are getting better and better and better.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's a downside. Now, if you stay in the city, the closest beach is it's like 30 minutes. So
Wow.
that's an advantage. So there's quite a few things. So yeah, I think you'll have fun.
Hey, I'm sold.
It's now getting more vegan friendly. So that's another thing. I just actually a friend of mine just came from a trip to Panama, and so I asked him the question. It's actually one of my interviews, Matt, and he said he had a good time. Went to a few restaurants, and yeah, so the food is good. It's very Caribbean-ish food too, so you feel like home. So yeah, I think I sold it for you. So I think next time you
Oh,
go out there, just let me know and all.
yes, I'm very hungry just thinking about it.
So what are you been doing some cooking now? You've been staying at home a lot more, and what are some
A
of the dishes
little
you?
bit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big cook,
Okay.
but a little bit. I've been cooking more, but I still do probably too much takeout and too many like prepared foods.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard when because I live alone. It's hard to always motivate to want to do all the cooking and grocery shopping and dishes and everything associated with that. But
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it's a little different. It's a different ball game when you had to do that all yourself. You think it will be better having someone that you guys can both share the cooking?
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, in the sense of like, I know a lot of vegans complain about difficulty to finding partners. You have any advice on that area? Like, what can they do? How do you think to get yourself out there so they can meet more folks, especially vegans? Is interested in dating vegans or not? What's your advice on that?
Yeah. So I personally don't limit myself just to dating vegans.
Okay.
I mean, the person has to be understanding
Right.
and respectful of me being vegan. And I've learned that when I've had relationships with non-vegans, they will slowly tailor their habits to become more vegan. So I feel good about that, but I know a lot of people don't want to even mess with that and want to stick just to vegans. But the facts are there's much fewer vegan men than women, so it can be tough.
For you guys, it can be a rough thing, right?
Yeah. So that's the reasoning for me. Although when I am in relationships with vegans, it's so much easier and nicer, and I definitely prefer it. But I mean, I guess it's hard right now too, with everyone being stuck at home and places not being open. But when things do get back to more normal, I definitely recommend checking out, vegan clubs, vegan groups. Most cities of a certain size have ones, and meeting new people that way. But also I've met so many people from Instagram, like, and just talking, making friends over Instagram is a great way to meet new people.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how we link through Instagram.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I definitely feel like yeah, it just matters just getting out there. I don't think the dynamic is that much different from non-vegan to vegan. It's just still the situation of dating and meeting folks and stuff like that is always it's always been an issue regardless. That's why they have, you know, Match.com and Tinder and all the stuff applications, right? Because people seem to find it difficult this day and age. I know that also now the younger generation, because I'm on my I'm 41. I'm 41. So the younger generation, the time they spend on the on the platforms or is a lot less. So they constantly need things to be changing, right? So it's going to a lot faster. So the whole dating situation, I think, gone a little bit. Um, I had that more digital to some extent, kind of like a lot of things. But so yeah, I always think that the best advice is just like I said, kind of get out there. You know, go to group. Like one thing that I used to do, or I did a lot, was I I went to a lot of vegan festivals.
Yes. Oh, they're so fun.
Right, exactly. And I did not go with the intention of meeting like a partner, right? I was just going with the intention, you know, having a good time. And during that interaction, you meet people, right?
Hmm.
And and yeah, you just hang out, and sometimes you met someone and that person know about someone, and then that's how
Hmm.
everything starts, right? It's networking. So so that's one thing. So I also feel like you just gotta get out there, talk to folks, tell people you kind of like you say, hey, I'm single, so that way when people hear about someone that they think they might be a good match, you know, you never know, it could be a good referral, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's good though. So what would be a message that you will have to give so people to be more in tune with their health, and especially from a plant-based perspective,
Hmm.
be more aware, like why do you think people are not so aware about their health? That's the reason why they're not transitioning, or they're not, you know, experimenting with plant-based or vegan lifestyle.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, life is tough. We all have a lot of struggles in our lives. I
Mm,
mean, this pandemic is tough. There's a lot of mental health issues. There's a
yeah,
lot of stress with jobs and
right,
children and families and whatever. And I think sometimes it can feel scary or stressful to try something new or to change um, habits that you've had your whole life.
yeah,
So the thought of changing, what you eat or what you buy in the supermarket or what you feed your families can feel overwhelming. It can feel hard. It can feel like a lot, and you're already dealing with so much. And so my recommendation to people would be, if you want to try and just see if you feel better, switch out one thing at a time.
okay.
I didn't go vegan overnight. It
Mm,
was probably about a 6-month process for me.
right,
I know a lot of people who do go vegan overnight, and that's awesome. But I know myself, and I know that I do better if I with gradual change. And so I swapped out my cow's milk for almond milk.
mm,
And then I, realized that I loved the taste of it and that I felt better after drinking it. And I didn't feel bloated. I didn't feel as sick after. And that encouraged me to switch to the next item. Maybe you switch to a vegan butter, or using coconut oil instead of butter, or whatever, make baked goods with, mashed banana instead of egg in them, or,
right,
whatever you feel like you can manage.
right,
Because change, if it feels too overwhelming, it's
yeah,
not going to be long lasting.
right,
And this isn't about a diet. Veganism's not about a diet. It's not about losing weight, although many people do.
mm-hmm.
It's not about that. It's about making the world a better place and doing the best for ourselves and all the other living creatures on the planet. And so do what you can in whatever way you're able to. And for a lot of people, I think that might just be taking it one step at a time.
Right.
Switching out, adding an extra veggie to your dinner plate.
Right.
Try one new recipe a week, just very manageable changes. And I think it's less scary that way. It's less, I don't know. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in that statement. One is, what do you think about, or do you had any issue switching up for example, switching out cheese? Because I know a lot of people complain or say, "Oh yeah, I can't do everything, but I can't leave cheese. I need
Yeah.
cheese in my life."
Yeah.
So
Oh.
that was a struggle for you coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved cheese. Cheese and eggs actually were really hard. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I remember my very last cheese omelet before going fully vegan. And what happens is I got like halfway through it and I couldn't finish it. And that's when I knew I was ready to go all the way vegan. And the thing is, the more you research factory farms, the more information you get, the less animal products seem like food to you. Because while you're eating them, you're thinking about the horrible videos, the horrible images you've seen, and it's just no longer delicious. It's
Right.
not delicious if you know the backstory.
Right.
And so that's what I recommend. If you're ready to make a change and willing to make a change, watch the hard videos. I mean, honestly, we all should be anyway, because if we're complicit in it, we should know what we're causing.
Right.
We're the ones doing this to the animals, not physically, but by the dollars that we spend on these
Right.
items.
Mm-hmm.
I know vegan cheese, some people can find vegan cheese tough. And it's a lot better these days than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
There's definitely some that are better tasting than others.
Yes.
I often recommend maybe take a little break from cheese when you first go vegan, and wait to really get into the vegan cheeses and like after you take a little break, because they are delicious. There's so many great products. I really like the Chow brand.
Yes, that's one of the
cheese.
best.
I think it tastes exactly the same. Not that I remember necessarily, but
Right.
there's so many great ones now. And so, but it can be hard to, if you taste one right after tasting what you remember,
Right.
that can be a little tough. So I get it. So some products are easier to switch, and maybe something like cheese, you might need a little break in between to fully appreciate the vegan version.
Yeah, I agree. So I wasn't really big into cheese. Like, for example, my personal story, I wasn't big into cheese. But I mean, if I order like a cheeseburger, of course I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna let me remove it. So yeah, it's a good thing that the vegans product, I got them better with years, definitely.
So good. So much better.
Yeah, a lot of the products I got them better. So, and one of those is being cheese, and like I said, that particular brand, yeah, it's one of the best. And I always tell folks, especially the ones transitioning, that one is that don't go into veganism, especially the eating aspect, thinking that you're gonna find apples to apple. Like every single meal is gonna taste the same. If I have a chicken and I have a soy-based chicken, it's gonna taste the same as chicken. And I tell folks, no, you can't expect to taste the same because it's not the same. So one thing is like you have to appreciate that food for what it is. So if it tastes is good for you and you like it, then appreciate that flavor. Don't expect it to be the same as the other product. So that's that mind. You change that mindset, it's gonna allow you to have a better transition, because you're not coming into like, oh, does not taste the same, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So you just have to switch that. So everything starts from your branding and the way you approach the whole lifestyle. So when I approach the lifestyle, I kind of did something that was like, yeah, I already know what was the reason why I wanted to do it. So now it's like, let me find out what's other meals that I like. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of food that I don't eat, even though I'm vegan. Like, for example, I don't eat every single vegetable out there. Like, I'm not the healthiest vegan, and I'm not the one that, have all the raw meals and all of that, because my reasoning to go into veganism was not necessarily for the food, but I try to keep my food balanced just because of the workout and all that kind of stuff. So it's had to be a balance there, right? But I'm not the type of person that you're gonna find in my plate, even though I like kale, of course, it's obvious, but I don't. You're not gonna find all this variety of vegetables. I think I had like 4 vegetables that I stuck with, and that's about it. And some fruits and whatnot, and nuts and seed and all that kind of stuff. But the majority of my products are, I mean, I eat some some tofurkey stuff, and sometimes I have lentil. I just try to switch it up because at the end of the day, I'm also human. I also have different tastes. I like tasty food. I'm not saying I'm not addicted to sugar, but I mean, I like sugar, so I like my sweets too. So I got my donuts once in a while. So yes, you get to a point on your veganism journey that you might be more cautious about what you're eating. But I think it's all has to be in stages. You cannot just kind of like what you say about transitioning. For some folks, is cold turkey might be the way to go. For others, is gradually. It's the same way. Your journey has to be gradually. You can't just get in and be like, I'm gonna be a raw vegan right away. That's the person who's gonna quit in 2 days or whatever, because it's gonna feel like. And then another piece of advice that I also give is that usually, and usually the way we as a guy eat is might not be the same amount of food, the quantity, than females. And I'm not trying to make it a race thing, right? Because, like, for example, if I eat, I don't know, 3,000, I don't know, 1,000 calories in one meal, maybe my partner, she only eats half of that, right? So if she served me, for example, she cook and she served me a small plate just like the one she eat, I'm like, what is this? Do you agree with that? Do you think that's an issue?
Yes. Actually, one of the things I hear most
Yeah.
from men, like active men,
Yeah.
on why they don't want to become vegan is because they say they're too hungry, or
Right.
they never feel full or whatever. And I'm always like, eat
More.
more. That's one of the cool things about eating vegan, is a lot of times you can eat more food.
Yeah.
And I personally have never had that problem. I'm always eating, but like a lot, I've heard that complaint, and it's absolutely true. Make sure you're getting enough calories.
Right.
Some people don't realize that they're switching out the foods, and they're not realizing that they're getting too few calories. And I would be willing to bet that's why a lot of people fail, like, at staying vegan.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I've spoken to, especially like on the Latin culture. So usually the way you see this is like you see the wife or the spouse or the girlfriend, she has some role in the kitchen, right? So that's a different conversation for a different topic. But so she's in the kitchen, right? And then she preps the meal for the entire family. So she's cooking based on what she wants, what she likes, her needs, her stage, her mood, whatever is that going on that day. That's how she's making that meal. So when the husband or the partner sits down and eat, he's getting that meal. He'll be like, and especially let's say it's a plant-based meal, he'll be like, okay, this is he's not enough. Or it's not filling, because this is the word that they use a lot. I don't feel full, because we like to eat as men. We like to eat to feel full. Like we got to have a fullness. Like, okay, I can't eat anymore. I'm good now. And I seen that a lot. So what I always tell them is like, okay, well, first you need to talk to your partner about this situation and let her know that maybe she had to double up on the amount of food that she give you. Maybe she need to put more carbohydrates in your meal so carbohydrates can reach you full. Maybe she wants to put more protein in your plate so you can feel more full. So there has to be this communication. It cannot be a war. So it just has to be a communication where you let them know what are your needs, so she can prepare those meals based on your needs, and then you'll feel fulfilled, not feel like I'm gonna quit just because this food is not filling to me. So I don't know if you experienced that before, or you've seen that at least, or heard that.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, eat more.
So Melissa, what is your legacy? What do you like? What do you want to leave to this world?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm in a definite transition place in my life right now. So I don't have a clear path of where I'm going. But I'm going to, I know I'm going to continue to speak out on issues that I am passionate about. And I'm going to continue to improve myself as much, as I possibly can to be the best person and to positively impact as many lives, for humans and animals as I can. And we'll see where that takes me.
That's awesome. Okay, that's great. That's good. So Melissa, what is your social media? Where can people find you? Is there? I know you have a YouTube channel. You have your Instagram. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yes.
Just plug all your
Yes,
social
Miss Red
media.
Vegan
Okay.
on Instagram and YouTube. Check me out on both of them. Like I said, I reply to all my messages on Instagram, so feel free to chat, come talk to me, ask me questions. I do a live video pretty much every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can watch that on Instagram where you can ask me questions live too. Yeah, and come meet me. Come join the family.
What about if they want to meet you in person?
Oh, well, it's hard these days since I'm trapped. I feel like I'm trapped at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I live in Massachusetts. Any area of vegans, I know a lot of them already. Yeah. I go to all the veg fests, the area veg fests, and I'm also always looking to do things like this to talk face to face as best we can over distance and chat and get to know people this way too. This is great.
Great. So you have any new projects coming up?
Nothing concrete yet.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably not going to have too much going on until I move in September. Okay. That's really my focus right now. Look out for me if you live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'll be there soon. I'll make a splash. I'll be at the amateur open mic stand-up comedy nights there. Or you could find me at any vegan restaurants in the area. Yeah, definitely. Hit me up.
Just a quick note. I recently, I don't know, for some reason, I always wanted to go to North Carolina, especially Raleigh, right? And last 2 years ago, I actually went for the first time. I stayed in Raleigh, and it was fun. I actually went to Raleigh, and then from Raleigh, I drove to Durham. And I checked both school. I went to Duke, and I went to North Carolina, and then went around and went to a couple. I ate in a vegan restaurant there, Raleigh. I forgot the name of it. I'll link you later. But they had this amazing chicken and waffle. I was like, wow, it was great. So you probably already know about it. If not, I'm sure you will.
I know I'm blanking on the name right now, but there's one place in particular that I really enjoyed in my past visits there, and it's probably a similar place.
Yeah.
I could be totally off base. I want to say it's something like the Remedy Diner or something like that, but that might be a different city.
I know he was in downtown area, but it was so much fun. It was a nice place. So I wish you all the luck in everything you're doing. You're amazing. Thank you so much for what you're doing for the animal, for folks, for everybody, for all of us, for being a voice, for not staying quiet, for speaking up, for your social media, for your platforms, and for being a good friend, for being a good person, for everything. So we appreciate that. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk.
All of that straight back at you. So great to talk to you.
Yes. I finally we had the opportunity to talk, and hopefully in whatever the trips, either you go to Panama, I go to Massachusetts or Raleigh, or before, who knows whenever everything's clear up, we get to actually meet face to face and have some food.
Sounds perfect.
All right, so you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Melissa.
You too.
All right, talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias por escuchar Latino y Vegano, un show donde se habla todo lo relacionado sobre el veganismo entre la comunidad latina. No olviden suscribirse a este podcast, seguirnos en Instagram, Facebook, YouTube y a visitarnos en latinoyvegano.com.